100 giant black celebrities who would have the respect of those people saying, what are you doing to yourselves? Why are you killing each other?
So over the weekend, and I know that this video right here is coming out on Tuesday, but the reason why I chose today is so that way I could kind of get these additional things that you're about to see towards the end. Because obviously there's a lot of cope going on here, or maybe a lot of misdirection. So Bill Maher had on his show the other night, and don't worry, we'll get to the rest of what was said here shortly. Of course, I got to put the picture over the clip so that way I won't get copyright. That's how HBO does things. But the thing is this right here. People are saying that Bill Maher is getting red-pilled on this topic of crime. And my honest assessment is the exact same as I've always had. It's cope. It's cope with pushing the policies. It's cope with pushing the things that, quite frankly, you donated to. That right there, of course, being Obama. You see everything nowadays an extension of what he was doing. And I know somebody's going to say, he's not president right now. He's not the one who's, he didn't push this stuff, dude. This type of crap started under him. This ideology started under him. Let me go ahead and explain something to you. Progressivism has to continue to exceed at all costs. Don't worry, we will do a video on that at a later date. But in the meantime, though, I am going to be posting up this Twitter thread of a guy that I follow, very smart guy. I advise you guys, if you want to please pause it and read it. The reason why, of course, is because he makes some extremely good points. You see, the problem with progressivism is that it's got to constantly fester. It's got to constantly move. Let's think about this really quick. Don't worry, we'll talk about crime here in a second. Think about it this way here. Let's say you have what we call a member of a certain community. We'll say the LGBTQ community. Okay, so the next thing you know, and let's take a look at that really quick. So you have lesbian, gay, bi, trans. Okay, next thing you know, it turns into Q, as in queer. Next thing you know, it turns into I, as in whatever the hell I stands for. Next thing you know, it turns into P, as in pansexual. You see, progressivism has got to continue to progress. Of course, that progression is also regression, which is one of the main reasons why I think of these people more as fascist or what Adolf Hitler was than actual true tankies or communists. Don't worry, we'll do more content on that. But the thing is this right here. The things that Bill Maher donated to, the things that Bill Maher helped push on his channel, they have caused this. It has gotten much, much worse over the years. And of course, Bill is finally catching on to this. Of course, it's mostly copium. Then again, though, let's also not forget, this is the same guy who said that we needed a recession to stop Donald Trump in 2020. He got what the hell he wanted. It was called the C19. I have to say it that way because YouTube's censors. By the way, the video that I've got coming out on Monday night, we'll kind of discuss that a little bit further with this whole Matt Walsh debacle. But the thing is this right here, though. Bill did finally call out the, let's just say, the woke celebrities that aren't exactly speaking up. Now, guys, I'm going to roll the first half of this, and then we're going to come back on the other side because there are two things that we do need to discuss, especially when it comes to crime. And this is also going to make a lot more sense at the very, very end of the video when I bring up these woke liberal mayors who are now suddenly unwoke for whatever reason. But there are two things we have to talk about, morality and, of course, morale. Now, you're probably going to hear this and think to yourself, well, Bill said morale. Trust me, there is a difference between morale and morality, and I'll be explaining that soon because it obviously has to do with this crap that you're about to see.
Two, whether or not the DA brings charges, whether or not there are enough cops on the street who feel free to be able to do their jobs is also policy. So.
But when you're talking about that policy in the larger frame of the prison industrial complex, it seems to be that the high incarceration rates are what you would want to attack at first. Before you start talking about cop morality, that I think that the whole structure is the issue as opposed to the individual level of the police officer.
It's shooter morality that I want to talk about. But
yeah, but then the question is the cause. So there's the obvious cause of the individual pathology. But then if you're looking at it in the context of a larger structure, I think that the conversation to have is first and foremost about the structure as opposed to the individual criminal, because I think that the moral valence is clear. It's terrible to commit a crime and it's terrible to hurt people. But then the question is, what do you do from there?
Now, one of the main reasons why we are in this situation is overall low morality. We have a lot of single-parent homes, especially in these bigger cities. And of course, morals are not being taught. It's one of the reasons why we continue to make the argument of having a father in the household. You see, a father is supposed to be like the, how do I say, almost like the umpire. You see, in most homes, the mother is actually the one who issues out all the discipline. The father, on the other hand, is designed to actually balance that out. An actual father, as in an actual daddy. Trust me, there are differences between the two. A daddy is someone who actually takes up time with their kids, where a father is someone who just simply fathered the child. I don't think I need to actually explain that any further, especially given the situation that we're in today. There are a lot of scumbag fathers out there who get 7 or 8 or 9 women pregnant in a span of about maybe 7 or 8 years, then turn right back around and don't even take up time with their children. I actually did a video on this. As a matter of fact, I'll try to leave this in the description box for you guys to see for yourself. But the fact of the matter is we don't have enough actual, honest-to-God daddies in the home to balance out what the hell is going on. Basically, the kids are, for the most part, raising themselves. And if you have this in an extremely high crime, high poverty area, which, by the way, I'm starting to come around more to Sean Fitzgerald's thinking, which is that the crime itself drives the poverty. Don't worry, we'll further explain a little bit later on in this video, and we'll further explain a little bit more in other videos. But the fact of the matter is that in these areas that are, let's just say, not exactly of a great economical status, yeah, this right here is probably going to happen. Kids are going to fight one another. Kids are basically going to be on their own. And next thing you know, they're going to grow up with an extremely warped sense of morality. Now, with that right there being said, let's go ahead and go to the Bill Maher section, because somebody needs to discuss the overall term of morale. And you're probably going to think that he says that, but don't worry, we'll talk about the celebrities who don't want to mention anything either. The celebrities who suddenly want to like toe the line and not say anything and just continue to preach the wokeness.
Talking to like Chicago, like most of the shootings are young black men killing other young black men. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Much more than what the cops do. Why doesn't anybody talk about that? Well, I mean, why aren't there, 100 giant black celebrities who would have the respect of those people saying, what are you doing to yourselves? Why are you killing each other?
This is no way to live. This dishonors our community. Come on. We're better than this.
Right. I feel like it's never kind of out of control. I was reading that in New York, a third of all the shoplifting cases are by 327 people in a city of 8 million because they keep getting returned to the streets, which has to be terrible for the morale of the cops, that they keep arresting people and the same people. It's Groundhog Day for them. I mean, I know we have problems with the cops. I've certainly not been shy about talking about them on this show, but I don't understand how we're going to get this situation under control unless they feel like what they do has some meaning as opposed to just a turnstile.
Now, gang, that is a very staggering number, that the vast majority of these shopliftings and the vast majority of this crime is being perpetrated by the same people. And don't worry, we'll discuss that a little bit more here in a second, because these very woke mayors like Eric Adams, the one in Houston, Karen Bass in LA, and of course Lori Lightfoot and Master Splinter, or I like to call her Fishhead, Fishbowl, Beetlejuice, all the names you can kind of come up with. The outgoing Lori Lightfoot, who by the way is being replaced by Brandon Johnson. I think I called him Brandon Jackson the other day. I apologize for that. The much more woke, much worse version of Lori Lightfoot. We'll talk about that in a second. But the thing is this right here. Morale. What is morale? Morale is essentially fighting spirit. You see, a lot of us military guys bring this up, and of course this same exact word is true in the case of law enforcement. You see these cops who are working in these cities like, say, Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York. They're working double, triple, and sometimes quadruple shifts. That means they're not getting any sleep. Their judgment is already off. And why the hell do you think that's the case? They're chasing the exact same criminal. Now, let me ask you something really quick. Do you think it's possible at one point in time that the cop at some point is going to get fed up and just stop chasing? Do you think it's possible that at some point in time the cop is not going to care? Do you think it's possible at some point in time the cop is going to get a little bit frustrated and say, you know what, screw this right here and go ahead and jump to force when force may not be necessary? I hate to tell you this, but Chicago is an absolute war zone. New York City, I went there back in September. Didn't seem as bad, but then again, though, we see the reports and we see how bad it's getting. We also see how bad Philadelphia is getting. We also see how bad LA is getting, especially with the homeless crisis. We also see how bad San Francisco is getting. We see how bad our cities are getting. Now, guys, you're probably thinking to yourself, why the hell do you rag on these cities? I rag on these cities because, quite frankly, I love these cities. These cities are monuments to American greatness. And to see these cities go completely from great to all of a sudden practically unlivable is absolutely insane. I'm showing you guys a photo of the I Love New York emblem in Albany, New York. I was sitting there. As a matter of fact, I changed my profile picture this morning on my personal Facebook. I won't be allowing any access anytime soon, but you guys can obviously go to the Claymore channel Facebook page. And I changed it for a reason, because I realized that I actually do love these cities. They are monuments to American greatness. And it is okay to criticize them. They need to explain the reason why, because they still belong to us regardless of how you may or may not feel. Now, granted, that is the I Love New York statue in Albany, New York, not the one in New York City. I did not go to that one. But I'm pretty sure you guys kind of get to where you guys may be getting what I'm saying. I love these places. I do care about these places. These right here are the places that people look to, because America does, in fact, have an image to uphold. And as far as Bill Maher calling out the celebrities, well, welcome to the show. Welcome, 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 Bill. Finally, you're on board with this. But don't worry, somewhere in the near future, he'll probably change his mind again. Don't worry, election season is coming. And I'm pretty sure he'll be there to run his mouth. Which, by the way, brings me to what I'm about to show you guys now. Now, guys, I'm pretty sure most of you know about these woke mayors, and I'm pretty sure you know about these woke DAs. You have Alvin Bragg, Sora Poro's fund, I have to say it a certain way, New York City, Kim Foxx in Chicago. By the way, she let a baby killer off the other day. Yeah, absolute insanity in some of these bigger cities. What I mean by saying I love the cities, but I got to criticize them because they're monuments to American greatness, but yet they're actually not monuments to American greatness anymore. It's kind of like maybe they're monuments to something else. I'm not going to say it here on the platform, or else I'll probably get removed for saying it. But it's election season. It's election time, and obviously you're going into yet another one. You obviously have to get ready for the next round of messages. So it makes you wonder exactly what the message is going to be this cycle. And then out of the middle of nowhere, the woke mayors kind of sort of gave it to us.
They're going to divide us, and we will constantly be conquered. Right, so I've been mayor for the last 4 years. My time is winding down. But what I saw and what I see is the people in my neighborhoods who have been starved for resources. There are areas of my city that look like the fires of '68 just got put out. Black folks have represented those areas forever. Why is it? Why is it that we have taken so long for ourselves to wake up? If we are content with crumbs, our people will never, ever prosper. So yeah, absolutely, we need to hold them accountable, but we need to hold ourselves accountable as well. And if we are not united, and we don't have the blueprint that Mayor Adams is 100% right about, and we don't execute on that with fidelity and stop the nonsense, stop the crabs in the barrel, but come together as a people and demand more, we're never going to get over about violent crime in our city. We will be the worst for it. And I come to this conversation as a former federal prosecutor. I come to this as a former defense attorney. I am the sister of a returning resident. But I know that there are people in my city that are wreaking havoc every day and need to be off the street. That's reality. What do we say to not only the victims of crimes, but the people who are terrified about crimes in their neighborhoods, most of whom look like us? If we say, yeah, the police department is spending all this time and resources to arrest, put a case on, and then the judges and the prosecutors say, you know what, we're going to let you out on electronic monitoring to wreak havoc again. If somebody musters the courage to come forward and identify the person who had just shot up their neighborhood and then sees Pookie walking bold as day back on the street 2 days later, what does that say to them? You're telling them that the criminal justice system doesn't care about victims and witnesses. And if we don't call that out every single day with these prosecutors and with these judges, many of whom don't live in our city and don't care about what's happening, then we are going to lose an opportunity to advocate for the victims and the witnesses and the residents who just want and deserve peace. We got to say it. We got to say it.
That's great.
Let me just address the issue regarding our young people. We have to have a multi-tiered strategy. All of us have designed intervention programs for that cohort of 16 to 24. We made sure that 50% of our jobs are going to those kids that are disconnected from school.
That right there is Lori Lightfoot and Eric Adams primarily. And I even threw Kim Bass in there. All three of these people are progressives. Don't let them fool you. They're not good old-fashioned, common, tough-on-crime Democrats. These people are absolutely insane. These are the people who've been preaching the wokeness and pushing the woke train for the past few years. Matter of fact, Lori Lightfoot back in 2019, and I almost wonder if it's possible that maybe Lori Lightfoot was the dumbest one of the crowd, and she actually opened her mouth. Let's go back. Do you guys remember back in 2019 when they were trying to work on getting a deal done for the border wall? And at the time, the deal that was set to be passed, the deal that former President Trump agreed upon, was, you know what, we'll give you the DACA recipients, but you're going to give us the wall. Democrats did not want to do that. Instead, Nancy Pelosi took an entire contingent of people out of town. So Trump, of course, he had these people. This is one of the main reasons why you'll never see me leave his side on this topic. Trump basically sent a letter out to them telling them to get their asses back to work. Well, then the Democrats responded, and Trump responded by saying, hey, look, if you want these people in your homes or if you want these people in your cities because they are all sanctuary cities, then maybe you should take them off our hands. Every single Democrat mayor, every single blue state governor suddenly hit their knees and said, we don't want this. You see, they want this crap only when the messaging suits them. You see, Eric Adams is complaining about the migrant crisis, but then the minute Greg Abbott started sending people to those areas, I like to go with Greg Abbott because Greg Abbott did it first long before Ron DeSantis did it, which, by the way, is an idea that he piggybacked off of Abbott. They were over here complaining about the migrant crisis. They also had an incident recently where they were complaining about the living conditions, talking about the migrants themselves. You're complaining about the living conditions being in New York City, but yet you just came from a place that's not even a hole in the wall. Very, very weird how these people act once they actually get here. Makes you almost wonder if, I'm not going to say it because I'll probably get in trouble. Also, something else, too, when Lori Lightfoot's talking about Pookie being back on the street, my response to her is this here. You are, for the most part, at fault about this. Also, speaking of Lori Lightfoot, when Trump told them he was going to put the migrants in their cities, she's the only one who spoke up and said that she'll take them. Just to go ahead and just kind of give you an idea of how dumb this woman really is.
We cannot be embarrassed to say that we need to support public safety and have our police do their jobs effectively. It can't be, you can't ignore Bebe that's out there repeatedly creating dangerous crimes in our community. And we are ashamed to stand up and say, this person is creating a dangerous environment in my community. I'm going to make sure my police do their job and do it effectively and not be abusive, but I'll be darned. There's no consolation to a mother who you go home and say, your son was not killed by someone in a blue uniform. They were killed by a gangbanger in a blue jean. She's not going to feel better. We need to be honest and forthright about the small numerical number of people who are repeated offenders. We have about 2,000 people in our city that are extreme recidivists. They are arrested one day, back on the street the next day, carrying a gun, committing another crime. And I refuse to say, just because you are black, I'm going to ignore that fact, that you're committing crimes in our community. Number two.
Amen, amen, amen.
Number two, we have to stop being ashamed of our corporate partners and partnership with other groups. I team up with my Korean, my Indian, my South Asian, my Central America, South America. All of my business entities, I sit down at the table with them. They've helped us with our summer youth employment, our internship. Committee chairs are of color. When you look at Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in Congress of color, we have all of this chocolate. So when people are running around here telling me, fight the fire, fight the power, Negro, you are the power. We are the power.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
We are the power.
That's right.
But you can't use that power.
Yeah.
Waking up every day, using that power of, let me see how I'm going to hate on Eric.
Yeah.
Eric hit on my third grade girlfriend when he was in third grade, so now I hate him for life. Come on, stop.
Yeah.
The city is being destroyed by the migrant crisis, and none of my folks came to Washington, D.C. to fight for the resources that's going to undermine every agency in our city. Mm-hmm. So what Mayor Lightfoot is saying, we didn't get here to look and hate on each other. Mm. Yeah. we don't have to agree on everything. I don't agree with everything I do. How the hell am I agree with everything you do? But you can't tell me, when you look at the agenda of all of us, you're going to find 8 out of 10 things we agree on. So let's lean on what we agree on and not focus on the 2 things we don't agree on.
Love that.
And obviously somebody must be catching on. You see, YouTube posted that particular forum. I think it was called the African American Mayors Conference. It was a fireside chat is what it was called. It only got about 2,400 views. But here's what I found really hilarious. It only got 9 likes and the comments were turned off. I wonder why YouTube, I just wonder why they would do that. Is that right there because they know that these people are full of crap? Is it also possible that these woke Democrats, who, by the way, for whatever reason chose to turn on the DAs in this video, is it possible that maybe they don't want the agenda exposed? Maybe they don't want that to happen, that maybe the true agenda is exactly what H.A. Goodman said, exactly what I've said, that for the most part, these Democrats already know that this progressive agenda will not win on the national stage. They have to go back to running on being moderates, even though they themselves were the massive purveyors of the wokeness, that they themselves are the massive purveyors of the death, destruction, and chaos that we see in these cities. Have these people actually thought about that? I wonder if people are starting to catch on. As I mentioned in the Matt Walsh video tonight, they start changing the rules when it comes to debate when they start to lose. That's one of the main reasons why I think it is that debate is pretty much gone, because they're going to continue to change the rules all the hell they want. They're going to continue to interrupt. They're going to continue to go out of their way never to answer any questions. That's how these people are. They know that they cannot win on this crap, so the spin has already begun. So let me end this video on saying this. Welcome to the party, Bill. Welcome. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party of actually calling these people out. But don't think for 1 second we don't know who the hell you really and truly are. Don't think for 1 second that we don't know at some point in time that you may switch back. But if this right here is the case, you better go out of your way to earn our support. And all these conservatives out here who are just openly opening them up with very, very big arms, taking Bill Maher in, I am warning you, proceed with caution. And to these woke mayors, you destroyed our cities. These cities have been getting destroyed for a long time. Who the hell would believe you now when you say we got to be tough on crime and we've got to support young people? You people have been the main ones in charge of actually eradicating this young population. Do I need to bring up the black abortion rate? Do I need to bring up the black murder rate? Do I need to bring this up? As I have said on multiple occasions before, it's not white replacement theory. It's black replacement theory. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign up in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.